Thanks for tuning in to Trending Update USA. I am Stefan. What happens when two of the absolute heaviest hitters in modern tennis go head-to-head? It is more than just talent. It is about their mental state, the heat of the moment, and their character. Is this merely another semifinal, or are we looking at a significant transition in the women's game? Today we are breaking down the massive showdown between Aryna Sabalenka and Elena Rybakina. It is a contest everyone is talking about sheer strength versus surgical accuracy as they fight for a spot in the Miami Open final. We are not just looking at stats and highlights. We are exploring the deeper meaning of this rivalry and what it shows about the reality of elite competition today. Let's get into the basics. Both Sabalenka and Rybakina have been playing some incredible tennis leading up to this point. Sabalenka, famous for her heavy hitting from the back of the court, has really worked on making fewer unforced errors. Rybakina, by contrast, operates with a quiet, almost understated level of accuracy. Her serve is one of the most reliable weapons on the tour, and her signature is her ability to stay cool when the stakes are highest. On paper, it is the ultimate contrast in styles. However, this match is about much more than just how they play. It is about two athletes who have been defining the path of the women's tour over the last several years. Let's start with Sabalenka. Aryna's always had the heat that was never the issue. The real struggle for a long time was keeping her game and her feelings under control. When she first started out, she was a bit of a wild card, prone to double faults and getting caught up in her emotions. That was the story for a while, but the last couple of years have seen a massive shift in her approach. Sabalenka has grown up both in her technique and her mindset, learning how to stay focused and play smart without trying to do too much. That newfound maturity is exactly what makes her such a threat on the court today. She still has the power, but it is much more controlled now. Switching gears to Rybakina, she has a totally different vibe. While Sabalenka wears her heart on her sleeve, Rybakina is stoic. One brings the fire while the other brings the ice. Do not take that chill attitude for a lack of drive, though. Her whole strategy revolves around being effective. She does not waste any energy on the court, and that serve of hers hits the mark every single time. Her hitting is incredibly crisp, and she is remarkably reliable when it comes to choosing the right shot. She represents the new era where timing matters just as much as strength. So what is really at stake in this match? We are watching a clash between two completely different philosophies of the game. Sabalenka brings that tempered aggression, while Rybakina focuses on clinical accuracy and making the most of every opening. When things get this tight, the winner is usually the player with the clearest head. Honestly, everyone is physically fit at this level. The real difference is how you handle the stress mentally. In today's game, stress isn't just about the score, it's the weight of what everyone expects from you. It is about the rankings, the headlines, and especially the online chatter. Let's dive into that for a second. Modern pros are more than just players. They are influencers and brands who are always being discussed online. Any slip-up or outburst is immediately turned into a viral clip for the entire world to dissect within seconds. For stars like these two, it is a whole different ballgame where just playing well is not enough anymore. They are constantly under a microscope, which definitely changes how they handle the biggest stages. Do they go for their shots or play it safe? Are they aggressive or just trying to stay out of trouble? It comes down to self-belief versus doubt, and Sabalenka's story is a perfect example of this struggle. She has been very vocal about her past issues with self-doubt and the mental toll of professional sports. Years ago, the spotlight seemed to make her struggles worse, but she looks much more centered these days. Which leads us to wonder, has she figured out how to ignore the noise, or has she just learned to live with it? Rybakina is a totally different story, usually staying under the radar compared to the other top players. In our current media-heavy world, being low-key like that is a double-edged sword. She skips the drama, but misses out on some of the credit, which ultimately affects how much pressure she feels. So looking at this match, it is about a lot more than just who has the better forehand or serve. We are seeing how two pros manage the complicated world of high-stakes performance and public life. Getting back to the actual tennis, the strategy behind this matchup is absolutely gripping. Sabalenka is going to want to take charge right away, using her strength to keep Rybakina pinned back and vulnerable. Meanwhile, Rybakina will try to soak up that heat using her big serve and smart placement to turn the tables. Who's going to be the one to dictate the pace of play? Should Sabalenka find her groove, the edge is hers. But if Rybakina breaks that flow, she'll likely shift the duel into a tactical chess match. Mind you, strategy only goes so far. The real test comes when things get down to the wire. How do they handle 5-all in the final set? What's the reaction when someone's staring down a breakpoint? That's precisely when you see true grit on display. Lately, both of these athletes have leveled up their mental game. Sabalenka is keeping her cool during the big points now, Meanwhile, Rybakina's proving she can stay grounded even when the tide turns. Essentially, neither player walks onto the court with a clear psychological edge over the other. Watching them both level up is what makes this so gripping. It's less about raw skill and more about who adjusts on the fly. We should also look at the bigger picture here. The women's tour is hitting a fascinating stride. This fresh crop of talent is rewriting the playbook, blending new styles with a totally different mentality. Just hitting hard doesn't cut it anymore. Being steady isn't enough on its own either. You need the full package plus the mental fortitude to keep it up. Sabalenka and Rybakina are leading that charge. They're the blueprint for the modern pro, perfectly merging raw athleticism with a deep sense of court awareness. However, that progress brings a brighter spotlight. Expectations are sky high, the press is relentless, and every move gets magnified online. One high-profile win can sway the fans' view. A split-second choice can write the whole story. It's often unfair, honestly, since players aren't fixed in time. They're always growing, picking up lessons, and adjusting their approach. This touches on the whole issue of personal space. In the current sports landscape, the wall between the locker room and the real world is fading away. There's pressure to be an open book about their lives and hardships, yet they get roasted for whatever they share. It's a tough tightrope to walk. For stars like Sabalenka and Rybakina, navigating that tightrope is just another day at the office. So as we tune in, let's keep in mind we're seeing more than just two pros trading shots. We're watching two people manage a high-stakes world that goes way beyond the baseline. Now for the fun part, making a call on the winner. Judging by their latest outings, you could make a case for either one. Sabalenka can just blow people off the court with her pace. Rybakina's laser-like accuracy can totally diffuse that heat. That makes a prediction pretty tricky, but here's how I'm looking at it. Clashes like this usually come down to the tiniest details. A handful of swing points, a few gut calls, or just 1 second of doubt versus 1 second of belief. When it's crunch time, having a clear head is everything. If Sabalenka keeps her head and doesn't try to redline every ball, she could run away with it. But if she starts spraying errors under heat, Rybakina will pounce. Conversely, if Rybakina stays cool and sticks to her blueprint, she'll be the one pulling the strings. If she gets too defensive, though, Sabalenka's power game is going to steamroll her. So the call isn't about talent, it's about who stays composed when the heat is on. That's exactly why this showdown is so captivating. Before we finish, let's take a beat. What's the big deal with this game? It's significant because it mirrors how the sport is changing. It counts because it shows the human element behind the scoreline. It also serves as a reminder that every duel tells a story of personal growth and grit, not just physical talent. In our hyper-connected, fast-moving sports culture, games like this let us pause and really see the nuances. It's not just about the final score, but the journey and the effort required to reach that point. One last thing, do you reckon raw strength or pinpoint accuracy is going to shape the next era of the game? To what extent do you think social platforms actually impact how an athlete performs? Who do you trust more in a tiebreak, Sabalenka or Rybakina? Drop your take in the comments section below.